Hi everyone, this is Sarfraz from Aristotle Prep, and we are looking at question 50 from the OG 13 critical reasoning chapter. Now the question we are looking at is one that a lot of students find very difficult to tackle. And the reason they find it difficult to tackle, you see, it's a strengthen question. If you look at the question stem, it says, which of the following, if true, most strengthens the argument. The reason students find this one difficult to strengthen is because they don't really understand what the argument is saying in the first place. In fact, that is the problem with most difficult CR questions. If you can understand what the argument is saying, it's very, very unlikely that you will go wrong with the options or in selecting the correct answer. So we will read the argument and then I will explain it to you. After that, maybe you should pause the video and go through the options once by yourself. Most likely you will get the answer. In case you don't, come back and play the video and listen to my explanation to the options. So the stimulus says one variety of partially biodegradable plastic beverage container is manufactured from small bits of plastic bound together by a degradable bonding agent such as cornstarch. Okay, so it's a partially biodegradable container. Since only the bonding agent degrades, leaving the small bits of plastic, no less plastic refuse per container is produced when such containers are discarded than when comparable non-biodegradable containers are discarded. It's a very interesting sentence. Read it again. It says, when you discard, see, there are two containers now in question. One is a partially biodegradable, the other is a non-biodegradable. Now, common sense dictates that when both of these decompose, the partially biodegradable container should leave less of a residue, right? Because at least it's partially biodegradable. Some parts of it will completely degrade away. So compared to a non-biodegradable container, the partially biodegradable container should leave less waste or refuse, as the argument calls it. However, the argument says no less plastic refuse is produced, which means in both the cases, in the case of partially biodegradable containers and in the case of non-biodegradable containers, the residue that is left on their decomposition is the same in quantity. How can that be? So that is basically what you have to understand in the argument. So now to strengthen the argument, all you have to do is explain how that is happening. Any option that gives you an explanation for this interesting or unique or contradictory situation would be the answer. So now if you pause the video and go through the options, you will immediately get the answer. I can guarantee you that. So let's go through the options. A says, both partially biodegradable and non-biodegradable plastic beverage containers can be crushed completely flat is absolutely useless. B says, the partially biodegradable plastic beverage containers are made with more plastic than comparable non-biodegradable ones in order to compensate for the weakening effect of the bonding agent. The part after in order to is of no use to us. The important part is before that, which says that the partially biodegradable containers contain more plastic than the non-biodegradable containers, which could be the reason why on decomposition both of these containers leave the same amount of plastic as refuse. So B should definitely be the answer, but we'll go through the other options also to see if anything else comes close. C says, many consumers are ecology minded and prefer to buy a product sold in the partially biodegradable plastic beverage containers rather than blah blah blah. The point is, what consumers want is of no consequence to the argument. So C is immediately out. D says the manufacturing process for the partially biodegradable plastic beverage containers results in less plastic waste than manufacturing process for non-biodegradable. The manufacturing process is again outside the scope. Why is the amount of waste produced in both the containers the same? Shouldn't it be less for partially biodegradable containers? That's the question. D doesn't answer that. E says, technological problems with recycling currently prevent the reuse as food or beverage. Containers of the plastic from either type of plastic beverage container again has nothing to do with our argument. So in fact, if you ask me, even if you understand the argument a little, B should definitely be the answer because the other options can easily be eliminated. However, if you understand the argument the way I explained it to you, then there is no way you would go with anything except B. So a difficult question, I would give it a 4 and 5 just because of the number of students I have seen struggle with this question. So a 4 and 5 in terms of difficulty. Have a nice day.